Welcome into Three Questions with Ivan Maisel, where Ivan brings his insight on all things college football to us here on a weekly basis. Ivan got a Florida line of questioning for you, a big game this coming week. You call it Georgia-Florida, call it Florida-Georgia, call it whatever you want to call it. We got a rivalry game, and Florida obviously has got their work cut out for them. But let's take a step back from that first. What are your impressions of Florida so far in year one under Billy Napier?
Man, JD, we all got so excited when they beat Utah in the opener, and it turned out that was the outlier. I mean, this team is just determined to be mediocre. If you look since the Georgia game last year, they're 6-6, and it's loss, win, win, loss, win, loss, loss, win. You know, there just doesn't seem to be. They haven't caught fight. They haven't caught any sort of momentum yet, and there's a coaching change, so. That's not that unusual, but they're really good running the ball. You know, Anthony Richardson at quarterback is just been spotty. He played really well in a losing effort against LSU, best game he's had since Utah. But you know, they just they're struggling.
And the defense has got issues, right? I mean, the defense itself is, I think, 131st, dead last in the country in terms of defending third down. Now, Anthony Richardson is an elite talent, and so you would hope they'd be able to kind of complement those a little bit better going forward. Fascinated to see what AR does after this year, if he goes to the NFL or if he comes back. Probably another conversation for another time, but I would love to see them finish the year strong. So I guess with that being said, the next question I have for you, Ivan, is what would be a good finish for Florida? Whether it's wins and losses number or just things you'd like to see on tape from the Gators, what would be a good finish to 2022?
Well, Billy Napier, JD, he's been playing a lot of young guys, especially on defense. You just want to see them, a little more consistency. And really, it's not just limited to the young guys. I mean, take, for instance, they're +1 in turnover margin, which is okay, but in the second half, they're -4. You know, when the game gets tough, you know, they're making mistakes. So that comes with experience. This is a really young team. You know, Georgia and the whole experience of playing in Jacksonville, much less playing against a number one arch rival, will be a huge learning experience for these guys. But I don't know that it'll be much more than that.
I think that's one of the things that people so quickly forget. And probably the transfer portal and that whole like instant gratification nature of college football has kind of warped our perspective on coaching changes, because we think, okay, new coach, go get, all the players from the transfer portal, go ahead and just sort of rev this thing up really quick and we'll be good to go year one. And some programs it's been that way, but for Florida fans, I think you said it perfectly. What it is in year one is not what it's going to be in 2023, 2024 and beyond. So Billy Napier, I truly believe, is a program builder, and that program in Florida is going to be just fine going forward. But big game this Saturday, like we just previously alluded to, and you previously alluded to, Florida, Georgia, right? Georgia, Florida. I don't really know exactly the right phrasing. I'm sure the fans watching this video want us to say Florida, Georgia. So for the Florida, Georgia game, what would have to happen for the Gators to get out of there with a win?
Oh, goodness. I think controlling the ball, not making mistakes would help. Being able to move the chains, the way running the ball as well as they have. I don't see it happening, JD, but I'll tell you this. So Florida's 1-3 in the SEC this year. I looked, I'm pretty sure they have not been 1-3 since 1986. And in 1986, when they were 1-3, they played Georgia, which was ranked 19th, and they fell behind 16-3 and came back and won 31-19. So we have historical precedent. I don't think it'll happen, but that's about all I found to hang a Gator hat on this week.
To quote Jim Carrey, so you're saying there's a chance. There's always a chance. Exactly. One thing I'm curious to see, what kind of version of AR do we get? And we kind of ask that every single week, especially in the big games, because in the big games with the big stages, the bright lights, it seems like he plays his best. Looking at the Utah game, looking at the Tennessee game, even though they lost, I'm just curious to see what kind of percentage effectiveness we get from AR this week, because that kind of could be the ace in the hole, like you mentioned. If there's going to be a way they get it done, defense has to play well, got to get stellar play from AR. But I think we kind of lean the same way on how that game could unfold. But college football, we'll see what happens. Ivan, we staying home this week? We hitting the road? What are the plans for the foreseeable future in terms of your travel schedule?
Oh, I'll be at Sony Stadium this weekend. I'll be watching Florida, Georgia. And the noon games, I think, are terrific Saturday. So I'll be there. Notre Dame, Syracuse, TCU, West Virginia, Ohio State, Penn State. Get into Florida, Georgia. That's a pretty good afternoon.
Sony Stadium, not a bad seat in the house. And the concessions are very, very cheap in Sony Stadium. So I'm with you. We're on the exact same page there. Well, Ivan, as always, thanks so much for coming by, dropping some insight on us. Folks, if you haven't yet, follow Ivan on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Would love to have you all a part of what we do here. But Ivan, as always, thanks so much and enjoy your college football Saturday. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.